I have your brain scanned and permanently backed up in case something terrible happens to you, which it's just about to.
And now we're going to grab the front, which is the one that steers, in case you forgot, and set that down, and we're going to mount this onto the two tall posts that are sticking up here, right here and here. And it looks like we mount that with the servo facing forward. And this one's going to go, yep, just right there with 3 screws. And we're going to grab 2 longer screws, self-tapping, and 1 shorter one. The shorter one is going to go in the back hole, and the 2 longer ones are going to go in the front hole. So we'll go ahead and get this put in. Get them all tightened down. Next thing, I believe we're going to install our servo. I'm not a crawler, and I told you that when we first started this off. So did a little bit of research. I went on to rccrawler.com, and supposedly, I guess there's no substitute for torque. So you're going to want to try to find a really, really good, strong, torquey servo for this. I'm just using what I've got laying around the shop for this build, because like I said, I'm not really a crawler, and I'm just building this one for fun. So we went and dug out a servo, and we are going to use a, what is this? This is a high-tech HSR 5990 TG. I can't remember offhand how much torque this one has, but if I remember correctly, it's on the higher end. And we're going to go ahead and put the servo arm on, and you're going to have to read the directions on this one depending on what radio you have as to which arm you're going to use. I have a metal arm on this one. It's probably one of the few, I think actually this is the only non-OEM part that comes with the kit that I'm not using, but I do prefer a metal arm. So we're going to go ahead and use this one. And as I'm looking at this, when we put the servo on, the wire is going to go to, as I'm looking at it, to the right side. So we're going to slide that on there, make sure everything lines up. And I'm going to hook it up first to the stationary side. Remember, this side slides back and forth, so I'm going to hook it up to the stationary side first. And oh, they throw us a loop here. Phillips head. They're going to make me dig through the toolbox, try to find a Phillips head screwdriver, which I hate Phillips, but it looks like I have a screwdriver here. Not a very good one, but we'll use it anyway. It's a little bit too long for this project, but we'll make do. So we're going to go ahead and line the holes up. I'm sorry I'm not working for the camera here. It's kind of a tough one, so I'm going to go ahead and, ooh, that is one messed up screwdriver. We're going to have to find a good one here. Yeah, let's try this one. This one looks like it's got a better head on it. There we go. Perfect. Going to make sure that fits all in there nice and snug. Tighten it down. I'm going to do this with all 4. So again, just going to talk to myself here. Find a good servo. You've got a lot of torque going on those front wheels, and you never know what you're going to be stuck in, so you're going to want to get a nice torquey servo. So at this point, what we're going to do is take a look here, and we're going to align this second one over, because we didn't tighten it down too much. We're going to push it over until it, oh, let's do it in the camera, until it properly aligns with the servo on these holes, so that we can go ahead and tighten them down properly. And then we'll revisit that bottom screw and tighten it up so that we don't have any problems later on. Okay, so we're going to mount the servo up, last 2 screws, and it looks like our next step is we need to create a couple more links, and I believe these are going to be the steering links. So go ahead and lay all your parts out so you're not fumbling around, and we're going to get going now on step number 30, which is building these little links. I'm going to go ahead and shut the camera off, get all my links out, get all the pieces prepared so that we can build it. And that is what your servo is going to look like when it's mounted. One thing that you're going to want to do if you have all your electronics already available is to plug it all in, turn your servo on and center it so that you can make sure that you're at a straight 90 degrees down with your servo when you turn it on. If you don't, another thing that you can do is bring it all the way to one side, bring it all the way to the other side, and then mount it as close to dead center as you possibly can. That way when you turn it on, it doesn't cock your wheels all the way over to one side and then you have to revisit that. So go ahead and get your servo set up now. Okay, we're going to lay out our parts for the next step and be right back. Well, preparing for step number 30 was a little bit interesting here. I'm not sure whether I smoked too much crack or the person writing the directions did, but it's calling for AX005 Part 4 on the longer rod end parts here. And according to the tree, 005-4 are these 2 parts, and I just don't think that that's going to be working quite right there. So we are actually going to use part 2 in our directions here, and just by looking at the pictures, I believe that that's the part. If they're not, then we're going to have to come back and revisit that. And also looking, and those are the ones that have kind of a little angle to them, as you can see. So we're going to use part 005-2 instead of 005-4. Now also looking at the shorter extension here, it's calling for tree number 32, part number 1. And again, I think that's a little bit too much crack last night. So we are going to use part number 005, and we're going to use part number 1s on that. And again, I could be wrong, but by looking at the picture, I believe that those are the parts that we're going to use. So don't go crazy looking for parts that aren't there. Just like we did before, we're going to go ahead and use our set screw and put our set screws into the rod ends, just like so. I'm going to screw them about halfway in. Focus. As you can see there. And then we are also going to take our little part number 18-1s, the little knobber jobbers, and go ahead and press them in to our rod end, just like that. And do that on all 4 of them, and then we're going to turn the camera on and be right back.
Do not touch the operational end of the device. Do not look directly at the operational end of the device. Do not submerge the device in liquid, even partially.